Introducing the Honor 200 Pro. This device was recently announced in Asia, finally available globally today at the launch event in Paris. And one of the biggest things I'll probably say is Honor's claiming here a portrait king. They're providing us an experience here where it provides us great portrait photography, video, and a lot of capabilities with macOS 8.0. It's powered by the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, a primary camera of 50 megapixel and a telephoto lens of 50 megapixels as well. And not only that, the front-facing camera is also a 50 megapixel camera. A lot of new features, a lot of cool things built into this Honor 200 Pro. Let's check it out and see all of the new things in there. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. Here we have the Honor 200 Pro. This is just the box again. There's a 200 and 200 Pro. There's 3 different colors available for the 200 Pro. As you're looking here, we're looking at a very beautiful, this one's actually called the Moonlight White color. There's 2 other variants in here, and it's really nicely designed and very eye-catching. Of course, the big logo on here, the triple camera stack in the back, 2 50s and a 12 megapixel camera. That's the ultra wide. So the telephoto and the primary sensor are both 50 megapixels, as well as the front-facing main camera is also a 50 megapixel camera. There is 2 sensors in here because we do have front-facing face unlock as well. One of the other things I'll probably say is we also have a wireless charging on the back, which is definitely very nice. And the configuration that we have here, which is really, really good, it's a quad curved display, which means there's a curvature from the top and the 2 sides and the bottom. This is something that we typically see on more of their Magic series, something on the more expensive areas. And this is definitely very nice. And it is mimicked on the back. So you notice there's a nice flat surface area here on the side for better grip. But then when you're actually swiping from the sides, even from the side on the left or coming down from the top, you're not greeted with an edge. You're greeted just with a nice, beautiful curve. And of course, if I just wake up and it looks at my face and you can unlock right away, you can see here face unlocking is right now. Really, really nice. Powered by the 8S Gen 3 Qualcomm processor, and it is providing us also the ability of charging it wirelessly and of course wired at 100 watts with the included charger. This is the UK charger, as you can imagine. Of course, depending on the market that you're in, there's going to be a different charger. They do include the USB-C cable that's going to be using here with this adapter. It's a high quality cable. You just should use both the cable and the actual charger to get the best connection there. And last but not least is a clear case to provide us protection for the device. There is a screen protector that's already installed in here. You can kind of see it right there. And of course, that provides us the coverage on the front and as well as on the back. Now, the battery we have on this device is a 5200 milliampere battery. As I mentioned, the 100 watt wire charging, 66 watt wireless charging. You do need to have the Honor charger for that to actually work. But overall, pretty good, well-rounded experience. On the left side, we have pretty much a clean slate. On the top, we have the top-mounted speaker and of course the IR blaster with one of the microphones. On the right side, we have a volume rocker, power button, and of course on the bottom, a secondary speaker for the stereo speaker experience. The bottom, basically the USB-C for data charge and audio over USB-C. A dual SIM configuration here for 5G compatibility, and it does actually support it in the US. And of course, the last microphone that we have here to support video recording. This also does support an eSIM, which is definitely very nice. I've been using that here. I've been using my service Airalo, which is definitely one of the best options I've actually used, especially when I'm here in the US or even when I'm traveling, so that I actually always make sure that I'm connected. And I was using it while I was traveling to the UK to make sure that I was connected on my device. Simple, easy, download the eSIM, configure it, and then ready to go. And then as you can see here, the notification panel, swiping on the right, we have access to it. We have the magic ring here, of course, the ability of jumping into settings. Now, as we can see here, the model number is ELP-NX9. It is running on macOS 8.0 with GPU Turbo, and of course, this is on top of Android 14. The processor is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 3. One of the other things that we have here is the RF enhanced chip Honor C1 Plus. 12 gigs of RAM, of course, with an additional 12 gigs of Honor RAM Turbo from the internal storage, which is at 512 gigabytes of internal storage. The screen resolution is 2700 by 1224, so slightly over 1080p, definitely much better. Of course, running at 120 frames per second. And you have the opportunity of configuring to go either 120, 60, or automatically high. So there's the dynamic, standard, and high. I've left it on dynamic, and so allowing the system to actually manage when it does go up to 120, or you could just run it at 120 all the time. And of course, you can also manage the application. That's one of the new options that we have. Otherwise, you're able to go in there and change the color configuration, natural tones, configuration, refresh rate, video enhancer is on, more display settings for basically full screen displays, and obviously the cutout for the cameras at the top. Other than that, straightforward experience. You have the ability of logging into your Honor ID, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth configuration. Again, eSIM support is absolutely a necessity, a must-have now, and it is here. So dual SIM card with eSIM support. And of course, the ability of configuring the sound, stereo speakers. As I saw in there, we do have face unlock. That was one of the nice things we have in there. the battery configuration where you can go in there and turn on performance mode if you want to be able to push this to the fullest extent. It does run in more of a balanced experience in general, but this will definitely push it if you say you're rendering video or so on, as I was actually using it to create some of the content while I was traveling. Now, when we're looking at it as from a processing standpoint, this is just a Geekbench 6.0 running, and this is after I got the latest update from them. So 1919 is pretty much on the single score and a 4593 on the multi-score. Again, what I like about the 8S Gen 3 is it's a processor that definitely hits above its weight class, but in general, it's somewhere between the 8 Gen 3 and the 8 Gen 2 from a performance standpoint with the GPU configuration. So you're going to get great gaming experience, you're going to get great connectivity, and that's one of the other things that I really liked about this. If we jump into the results here with the speed test, in the US, I was actually able to log in or clock in 5G, and that's 608 down, 128 up on T-Mobile in the Los Angeles area. So if you're thinking about picking it up or getting this device in the US, you're not going to be disappointed. The one thing I will say out of the box, when you first turn it on, you do need to actually go into the settings and turn on 5G because that option is turned off. So by default, it defaults, at least in the US market for me, it was defaulting to 4G LTE. But once I turned that toggle on, I was able to connect and get 5G connectivity. Of course, Wi-Fi 6 compatibility in there as well. We get all the configuration. And other than that, I think this is actually one of the really nice configurations that we've seen before. We have all the different options in here. You'll also notice right there, that little kind of like a jump option. You're able to jump straight out here. The few little customization options that we get in there. And of course, I'm pretty sure you guys want to look into the camera because, again, one of the biggest claims they put in there was the photography king, or at least portrait king. So in the camera mode, default mode, when you first swipe down, you'll notice there's a few options. We have AI photography, HDR, moving photo, flash, and of course, ratio in there. Let's go ahead and bring that down. And of course, the same toggles kind of are mirrored at the top. When we jump into the portrait mode, we'll notice there's a couple of things that are different than what we've seen before. We have obviously the 3 different focal length, the 1, the 2, and 2.5. Just to mention, the 1 and the 2 are running on the main sensor, and the 2.5 is basically the telephoto lens. That's when we're switching between the two different focal lengths. But we also have the built-in vibrant and of course color option, as well as classic color. And these are the hardcore colors that are built in, the filters that are built in, that we're going to get a chance to take a look. So you'll notice right there, this will be a good example. So that's basically the classic, the color, and or the vibrant, and then there's the color one. So you get the different looks built in directly within the camera itself. And we'll take even more looks there. Night mode photography, aperture photography, obviously for that shallow depth of field. We do have the telephoto lens in there. Video mode is where it gets really nice. We have AI video option to turn on. You have 4K 60 frames per second support if you turn that function off. So that's one of the other options you need to be aware. If you want to get the best AI experience, 4K 30 is going to be the maximum resolution. But what I like about it is you notice that it gives us the ability of jumping into that 4K 30 on all of the lenses. Now, one there here, and then of course 7.4, the 0.7x, that's the ultra wide. If we switch it to the front-facing camera, this experience continues, and that's what I really like as well. That 50 megapixel camera in the front is being utilized for the full potential. We'll definitely get a chance to check that out. Of course, we have multi-view functionality. We have more, obviously, pro mode, slow motion, panorama, time-lapse, high resolution, story mode, document scanning, solo cut, as well as night video to be able to get some of those best options. And if there's additional ones that you're able to download, like watermark, you can actually just download it directly and add it to the actual list. Let's go real quick and do a quick sample of basically the audio recording and video recording from this. And I'm actually going to be sharing some samples, as you can imagine, from my trip to London with the Honor 200 Pro. When it comes down to video recording and what we're able to do with the brand new Honor 200 Pro. Now, 4K 30 frames per second is going to be on the front, 4K 60 frames per second is going to be on the back. The full power of the 8S Gen 3 is being used here, and nothing is stopping it. And one thing I really like about this is we actually have 2 cameras on the front, giving us a little bit of a dual view, so you can go with a more punched-in look, or even go a little bit wider as what we're using right now. But using this, traveling with this while I was in London, taking a lot of videos, a lot of pictures, that was really where we started to see the benefit of the camera system and the color science that they're using here with macOS 8, because that's mainly what's driving this entire experience. Hardware is going to have to be great, but the software has to match it. And my hope is that what you're watching right now is giving you a good example of what the audio and video is going to be performing on the brand new Honor 200 Pro. Now, as you saw there with the videos, they look absolutely fantastic. It's a lot of that images from Chinatown in London as I was traveling there recently, and I really appreciated the ability of being able to use this while traveling and not have to worry about connectivity. But the biggest thing I have to say is the camera experience on the front-facing camera and the rear-facing camera are absolutely equal and very much focused on giving us a great experience. Now we're going to be taking a look at Alex Grindo. This is our favorite song as usual on the channel. This is Jumbo by NCS Release, a non-copyrighted song, and we're going to be listening to speakers that we have here a slightly different configuration. We have a speaker here pointing upwards and another speaker pointing sideways. So when you're using it, if you're holding it in your hands, this is going to give you the best audio experience. Otherwise, you may notice that the audio is going a little bit further away, but that's again based on the design. We're going to go ahead and play that a little bit.
Jack it up.
And as you saw there, as I was holding it in my hand and I put it in, the actual echoing or the reverberation from the sound hits the side of my palm and comes more straight at me. Obviously, if you're using Bluetooth buds or anything like that, or even a wired connection, this is obviously going to take it to the next level. But if you're going to be using it with this built-in speakers, this is going to sound great. Phone calls, video recordings, all of that stuff is going to sound and look really, really nice. As you can imagine, the 8S Gen 3 is a powerhouse of a processor. And one of the things I really like about them is the fact that they have a nice gaming system here that gives us the ability of customizing our experience. You can jump in there, change it directly from either game or balance mode, and that's going to actually kind of tune the experience on the actual device to provide you the best either focused gaming experience, or obviously if you're just trying to get more battery life out of it. You're able to do game filters, screen recording, settings in here, of course, multi-touch and do not disturb, and pop-up versions of different applications in there, and you're able to add additional ones in there. But what you're looking at right now is a sample of gaming experience here using Call of Duty Mobile on this device. It's obviously not going to be disappointing. We have a high refresh rate of 120 frames per second, a beautiful high resolution display, as well as the fact that we have curved edges on all sides. One thing I will probably say is with the do not disturb function, you're going to get more of that focused experience, and of course just get that long gameplay with that 5200 milliampere battery. The 8S Gen 3 is definitely not a power-hungry processor as the 8 Gen 3, and I think that's where the benefits come in. This is where the experience kind of gets tailored to give you the best gaming experience for the longest time. And as you saw there with the gaming experience, there's no question that the 8S Gen 3, coupled with the really nice display, quad curve edges, 120 frames per second, and of course that 5200 milliampere batteries that you can charge it back at really quickly with that 100-watt charger, is not going to disappoint. And not only that, you're getting stereo speakers, also obviously the ability of using Bluetooth earbuds, a lot of different things that you could do with this device. The fact of the matter is actually overall the device itself feels light. Although it's a very solid device, it provides us all of the I would say the premium experience in a very nice tailored area. The overall price, as you can imagine, starts around by £700, so maybe about $780 US for this device. Again, the configuration that I'm looking at right now is maybe not necessarily the entry level, but what you're looking at here is a combination of camera prowess, Magic OS functionalities, the 8S Gen 3, and of course a camera system that's really focused on giving you clear and beautiful images, and of course the image processing that we've come to love from Honor. The biggest thing I'll say is I've used this here in the US, and I've also used it while I traveled to London. And I also, as I mentioned to you guys before, was using the eSIM when I landed there just to make sure that I was always connected when I'm traveling. And one of the things I was really surprised is at that day we landed in London was a beautiful sunny day. So we got more of that beautiful, I would say, the HDR colors and the HDR imagery, where you have a lot of nice blue skies, white clouds, and so on. And it gives you that nice clear images of the structural buildings that we get around London, which has beautiful, beautiful landscapes. And of course, the next day it went back to standard London weather. And even in that experience, while I was in Chinatown, it still gave us the experience of beautiful color, beautiful images, and that subject isolation when we're jumping into that portrait camera. And when you're in the portrait mode, we have 3 different styles of photography built in with the options that we have in there. If you don't do anything, you're going to be using the vibrant option. That is the default filter built in. And of course, you can jump into color, which I feel like it's the more, for me, I find that to be the more color balanced experience. It's a little bit brightened up images with more punchy and popped colors. And of course, if you jump into classic, you have that black and white experience. Since we don't have a monochrome sensor on this device, that's going to be the closest way or closest possible way for us to get those black and white images. And it does all of 3 in the same style of portrait because it is trying to do that subject isolation, even if you have a couple of subjects, as in some of the images I'm sharing with you guys. But when you take that away and start just using the cameras, the front-facing camera, the rear, and then of course the main sensors on the back, you're not going to be disappointed. Just subject isolation, images, image processing, all of that is delivered exactly as we've come to experience from Honor. And I feel like this is almost in a competition to their Magic series, which, as you can imagine, is on the more expensive side of the the house. Now, the 8S Gen 3 is not going to punch at the same level as the 8 Gen 3, but it is very close. It's between the 8 Gen 3 and the 8 Gen 2 from a performance standpoint, and I think this is where it kind of helps Honor tailor the experience and provide us that 700 pounds starting price point for their, at least on the Pro series. Again, there's a couple of other options. There's the standard and the lite that was also announced, so those are going to be the two different options, and the lite one is actually getting pretty reasonable and very affordable. So at the end of the day, if you're looking to pick up an amazing device from Honor, and it is the middle of the year and this is the time for you, I feel like that the Honor 200 Pro does the job right. Images are on point, the gaming experience is on point, and this is meeting Honor's expectations of what we get. Does it have all the features as the Magic series? No, there's a few things that are not there, like we don't have wired connection for the ability of using their Magic OS desktop mode. That's just going to have to work with screen projection, so wireless is the only option that we get. But other than that, I think overall the experience that you're going to get here is very well balanced, very well put together for the price point, and will not disappoint. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and of course I'll see you in the next video.